Imagine the world on the eve of transformation. America, 1860. The sun sets on a society built on tradition, hierarchy, and inherited power. Across the ocean, monarchs still rule, and society is a rigid pyramid. But a storm is gathering. A war is coming that will shatter this old order. This won't be a war of neat lines and chivalry, but of brother against brother, fueled by locomotives, telegraphs, and factories. The Civil War will be a battle for the soul of a nation and the future of the world. Most see the early modern era fading slowly, but its true end came suddenly. April 9, 1865, at Appomattox. The war's end swept away old certainties, proving a government of the people could survive its greatest test. It unleashed new technologies and new ideas of freedom. The Civil War is history's greatest plot twist, the collision of past and future. Its echoes still shape our lives and politics today. To understand our world, we must return to that last sunset, just before the cannons thundered and a new era began. The early modern era was ruled by kings, tradition, and rigid social order. America's founders claimed to break from this, but the nation was built on a contradiction. Liberty for some, slavery for others. In the North, factories, cities, and ambition defined a society racing toward the future. In the South, plantations and slavery clung to the old world, with a small elite holding power. Southern planters saw themselves as noble patriarchs, resisting the North's chaotic capitalism. Two Americas, one modern, one feudal, one free, one enslaved. The railroad and telegraph connected the nation, but also exposed its deep divide. The contradiction at America's core grew into a chasm. The country was hurtling toward a reckoning. Would it choose the world of inherited power or the world of liberty and industry? The answer would be decided in blood. The old and new worlds could not coexist forever. The stage was set for conflict. America in 1860 was a land of energy and anxiety, stretching from ocean to ocean. Railroads shrank distances, cities swelled with immigrants, and a sense of destiny filled the air. But beneath the progress, the ground trembled. The question of slavery was now a political earthquake. Compromises had failed. Every new territory reignited the conflict. Abolitionists condemned slavery as a betrayal of American ideals, while the South doubled down, defending it as essential and righteous. Fear gripped the South, of rebellion, economic ruin, and loss of status. Lincoln's election in 1860 was the final spark. Southern states saw his victory as a threat to their way of life and began to secede. The time for compromise was over. The storm had arrived. The war began with Confederate cannons firing on Fort Sumter. No grand battle, just a spark. Both sides expected a quick, glorious fight, but the reality was industrial slaughter. Rifles replaced muskets, trenches replaced open fields, and casualties soared. Generals clung to old tactics, sending men into deadly assaults. This was total war. Entire societies mobilized. Factories and railroads became weapons. The North's industry and population gave it an edge, but the South fought with fierce resolve and brilliant commanders. The telegraph allowed Lincoln to direct armies across vast distances. The South, agrarian and outnumbered, fought on home ground, but struggled to match the North's resources. For 4 years, the Confederacy defied the odds, but it was a fight against the relentless tide of history. The war would not just decide a nation's fate, it would redefine the world. The old rules no longer applied. By late 1862, the Union was losing. Lee's army seemed unstoppable. Lee invaded the North, hoping for a decisive victory at Antietam. The battle was a brutal, bloody stalemate. 23,000 casualties in a single day. Lee retreated. Lincoln seized the moment to issue the Emancipation Proclamation, making the war a fight to end slavery. In 1863, Lee gambled again at Gettysburg. For 3 days, the armies clashed. Pickett's charge ended in disaster for the Confederacy. Gettysburg marked the high water mark of the South. Never again would Lee threaten the North. The Union's simultaneous victory at Vicksburg split the Confederacy in two. The tide had turned. That November, Lincoln's Gettysburg Address redefined the war as a struggle for a new birth of freedom. The old world was crumbling. A new one was being born. The cost was staggering, but the meaning was profound. The war's turning point had arrived. The Civil War was lived by millions, not just generals. Susie King Taylor, born enslaved, escaped to serve as a nurse and teacher for black soldiers. Her story echoes countless others who seized freedom amid chaos. The war's strangeness included the King of Siam offering Lincoln war elephants, politely declined in favor of steam power. Photography brought the war's grim reality home. Images of the dead, ruined landscapes, and haunted faces shattered illusions of glory. Letters and diaries reveal the boredom, terror, and longing of soldiers and families. Women managed farms and businesses. Surgeons worked in makeshift hospitals. The war's true history is found in these personal stories of suffering, endurance, and transformation. The camera did not lie. It showed the terrible cost. The human toll was immense, the scars lasting. The war changed not just a nation, but millions of lives. By 1864, the Union embraced hard war, total destruction of the South's ability to fight. General Sherman's march to the sea cut a swath through Georgia, destroying railroads, factories, and farms. Civilians faced chaos and terror as the old rules of war vanished. Sherman's campaign continued through the Carolinas, while Grant pinned Lee's army in Virginia. Trench warfare previewed the horrors of future conflicts. By spring 1865, the Confederacy was collapsing. Lee's starving army was surrounded. On April 2nd, Union forces broke through at Petersburg. Richmond fell. Lee's last hope vanished as Grant pursued relentlessly. On April 9th, at Appomattox, Lee surrendered. The war was over. The old world of the Confederacy was destroyed. A new era was about to begin. Appomattox was more than a surrender. It was the end of an epoch. Slavery was abolished. 4 million people were freed. The United States became a singular nation, not a loose collection of states. The supremacy of the federal government was established, setting the model for the modern world. The Civil War birthed modern warfare and media, mass production, mass killing, and instant news. The nation was bound together by shared experience and information. The war's legacy shapes every debate about freedom, equality, and government today. Our world of powerful nations and global connections was forged in those 4 years. The people who lived and died then paid the price for the world we inhabit now. Their story is our story.